out here at Broward Commons on College Ave campus. We're here finding out what you guys think about the upcoming election.
I'm going to vote for the Democrats because I'm really anti-Iraq war.
Yeah, I'm planning on voting in the next senatorial election just because, like, this is the first chance I've had a good shot at it, and I figure I can support my Democratic Congress members. And yeah, I hope I hope we get a Democratic majority.
I think it's a very interesting situation. On the one hand, not a lot of people like Menendez because he's corrupt, but on the other hand, no one wants a Republican-controlled Senate. So that's why the polls are so close. Me personally, I'm still undecided. Right now, I'm leaning towards Menendez just because I don't want another Republican Senate. But I think it's going to be a very close election. It's going to be very interesting in the next coming weeks.
Senate, I couldn't bring myself to vote for either of them, so I actually wrote in my dad.
Now that we have a sample of what everyone thinks on campus, let's go back to the studio and find out more.
I'm joined here today by Herb Tarbous, the independent candidate from the 6th Congressional District in New Jersey. Mr. Tarbous, thank you for speaking with me.
Oh, thank you, Ilya, for having me.
Now, first and foremost, I'd just like to ask you, why do you want to be the congressional representative from this district?
Well, I want to be is maybe not the right way to put it. I want to see an independent person become representatives across the country in all the congressional districts. And I say that because I don't really have faith in our current political system, the political system of Democrats and Republicans, to really produce the leaders that we need, that we deserve in our government. And I think there's evidence of that out there. And so I am basically offering myself as a candidate to become the representative of this district. Now, I'm going to vote for myself, so it's really up to other folks to decide whether or not they want me as a representative as well.
Now, what do you think college students especially would be most concerned about in terms of this election? What do you think the issues are for them?
Well, I guess I really don't know. I haven't talked to many college students to actually ask them a question about what their concerns are, what the issues are. But I think from a perspective of in the stage of life that college folks, shouldn't say college kids, right? College folks, college age folks are in. You look at the future. You usually look forward into the future at that age, at least I did at that age. And I believe that what I'm trying to do is lay out a vision of the future of a political system that has more than just the Democrat and Republican parties, and more than just the sound bites and superficial things and actually very negative things that go on in our political system today. And I want to start building for the future, and I want to recruit a lot of people into a similar mindset of independent politics or representation independent of the existing major parties.
And what do you think is the #1 issue facing the country today?
I think that that's the #1 issue. I mean, because there are very important issues, there are very urgent issues, but from a long-term perspective, I think that election reform, campaign finance reform are the most important long-term issues that we face. Because by changing the system, we can create a Congress that engages in dialogue instead of sniping at each other. And by engaging in dialogue and bringing in diverse opinions and learning how to craft a consensus, that will serve us to deal with all the other issues much more effectively. So I look at this as sort of a fundamental, foundational issue of our government.
Okay, and obviously one of the big issues for students, especially as they're learning more about the world in classes and on the news, is foreign policy in general.
Sure.
The war in Iraq has a lot of students either on one side or the other, not sure. How do you feel about the war in particular and America's foreign policy role in general?
In Iraq, whether it was a mistake or not is not really important anymore because we're there, and I think we need to get our guys out of there. And the Kurds in the north of Iraq have voted for independence, and I believe that we should work to facilitate that, and that will create some stability in Iraq to give us some sort of platform to get out of there. And as far as the Sunni and Shia areas, I mean, there's going to be a civil war. I mean, it doesn't seem it's avoidable at this point, and it doesn't make sense for us, to me, to keep our Marines and our Army folks in there, guys that have volunteered to serve this country in a position of danger and where it doesn't seem they can do much good. And so I really think that we need to get those guys home.
So if what you're saying happens and a civil war does break out as the U.S. withdraws from Iraq, if you and people who support your cause come into Congress, are you then saying that it's okay for Iraq to become a civil war-plagued failed state?
Well, I don't know that it's okay. I mean, that would never be okay. No one wants to see that happen, but I don't know what our power is to prevent that at this point. I think, if anything, it seems that we are actually, an ingredient to cause that to happen at this point. And I think it becomes, I think we lost a great opportunity when we went into Iraq to build international consensus, and I think that's really what is still needed to solve the Iraq issue, if you will, is we need to have partners internationally, not this fake coalition that the president claims we have, in order to deal with this issue. I mean, we've created a mess, and I don't have all the answers about how to clean it up, but I do think we need to get our guys home.
Now, shifting from foreign policy more to a domestic stance, college students are very concerned about, as they enter the workforce, issues of employment, and even as students enter college, there have been issues about affirmative action in particular. How do you feel about the idea of affirmative action, and do you think it needs to be changed?
Well, the unfortunate truth is that there's still racism and discrimination in our society, and I've learned, or I've come to a conclusion, that it's best dealt with proactively. And so there needs to be, again, the government needs to ensure a level playing field, and that's really the role of the government. The slogan I'm running under, or we're running under, is diversity is strength, which is, is key. It's key to make sure that the playing field is level, and that, so affirmative action programs, I believe, need to stay in place or need to be accepted as necessary, at least for some period of time going forward. As far as the actual, details of programs, that's something I would, address more directly as I would work on them in Congress.
All right, Mr. Tarbous, thank you very much for speaking to us. If you'd like to learn more about Mr. Tarbous, you can visit his campaign's website, www.diversityisstrength.us. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you, Elliot.